All right, hello everybody. Hopefully you took some time to look at the other videos of Get to Know Me and my class. Being able to understand what I'm talking about in some of these videos. Wanted to just hop right in. I'm breaking these videos up for our notes. So this will be the first of several. This is our emerging section of the notes. Really talking about 4 different categories of numbers and breaking those up for you, getting you a good understanding of it. Something I've noticed that a lot of kids struggle with is when they get these state tests, the state tests talk in a very different type of language. You could call it the math language. This math language has some very large words. You can understand the numbers, but when they start naming things off, it's really important to know these names. And so that's what we're going to talk about on this first section. On this first part, we're going to talk a little bit about natural numbers. These natural numbers, they're not on your notes, but I feel like they could be a help for you when you're learning from them. Okay. So natural numbers, they're pretty simple. 1, 2, 3, and so on. So natural numbers don't have any fractions, don't have any decimals, pretty simple. Okay, they're natural numbers. So now, on your notes, you start off with whole numbers. Whole numbers has very to little difference. Starts with a 0. Starts with a 0, goes 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to clean this board up just a little bit so that everybody can see it. These numbers are pretty important to know. Whole numbers kind of keep you away from the decimals, away from the fractions. And they're also all positive. There's no negative numbers in these. We will talk about the next one, which is our integers. So I'm going to just use a small range of these numbers, but understand these numbers go for as long as you can count in either direction with these. So with integers, I'm going to go with -3, -2, -1, also includes 0, 1, 2, and 3. Now once again, these go in both directions on our number line. I'm going to talk about number lines here in a minute. Now we're going to talk about rational numbers. Rational numbers, these do include your decimals. So instead of writing all these out again, I'm going to just show you an example of what I would think of as a rational number. So 1.5, that would be a rational number. Even a fraction is now a rational number. Okay, and so something that you'll notice is that whole numbers include natural numbers. Integers include whole numbers. And rational numbers include integers. So each one kind of builds on itself. So something that is a skill that you'll need to be able to do for this section is being able to take a table that looks like this and being able to categorize each number that is given to you. Okay? And if making a number line like this helps you to do that, that's great. Okay? I usually let everybody, if they have a thing that helps them out, go ahead and use it. So let's start with this. I have natural number on here. Once again, it's probably not on your notes. I just wanted to include it on this to do so. So 5. 5 is our first number that we have. It's a positive number, and so we need to understand what category that it falls into. Now remember, these two categories, or these, giving things away, there's categories that overlap. Okay, so we need to be careful with that. So we have 5, so which numbers does it go into? It would actually fall into a natural number, and all I would do is just mark that it was there. Now, I do check marks for things, I do X's for things, but just make sure that you're consistent so that you don't mess yourself up when you're looking at it. So 5 would be a natural number. Now we get into what you would have on your paper. 5, well, that would fall into a whole number. It would also fall into an integer, and I didn't put it here, but this also includes a rational number, because you have 0, and then you have like 1, and then you have like 1.5, and you have the negative numbers, and so everything that's in these is also included in a rational number. So, going back down, 0.6. Not a natural number, not a whole number, it's a fraction. Well, fractions and decimals are actually the same thing. And so integers don't have decimals in it, and so the only category that it falls into is a rational number. So going back, once again, now we have a -2 2/3. Fractions and decimals are the same thing. We just did a decimal, and now this is a fraction. Basically wanted to give you guys a look at that, but it would fall into the same category as the one above it. No, 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 and yes. Last one, -24. So this is not a fraction, not a decimal, but it is a negative number, and so it falls into a special category. So, positive numbers, okay, well, these are only positive numbers. Whole numbers, doesn't include negatives. Integers. So, if we look onto our chart here, we start with integers for a negative number. Now, once again, rational number covers it as well. Little trick as you're going through this first section, probably most of the numbers I'm going to give you, they're all going to be integers, okay? It's just how it works. Each one covers the one before it, and so if each one covers that, they're all going to be over here. Now, when we get into our next section, we need to be careful of that. But for right now, a little trick for you. All right, so that's the emerging. That's the basic understanding of numbers and their names. We'll move into the next section.